Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. If you're new, I'm Nyx with Chromate's Apothecary, and today I'm bringing you a tarot pick-a-card reading where we are going to be figuring out what it is that the universe is trying to tell you. So that could be very, very clear, honest, upfront messages, or it could be more mysterious or nuanced symbols or signs that the universe is trying to throw your way. Or it could be even certain words or phrases that I use during the reading that really resonate with you and start kind of nudging you onto the right path. So what I did for today's reading is I sat down with the Marigold Tarot, and as I was focusing on each group, I did choose these cards in particular, and these cards I'm going to be using for the very first part of your reading. So let's get into this. The very first one that we have here will be Group 1, represented by this honey calcite. Then beside that, we have Pyrite, representing group number 2. Thirdly, we have this pink agate, representing group number 3. And last but not least, we have the Bloodstone, representing group number 4. So if you need to, feel free to pause the video and take a moment to just look on these different crystals. And when you've made your decision, head on down to the description box below and then click on the timestamp that corresponds with the group that you have chosen. But before that, if you have ever wanted to support us, remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more tarot pick-a-card readings in the future. And for further support, you can always go to chromatesapothecary.com. That is me and my partner's website. That's where we create our handmade, to-order, all-natural self-care products such as our bath salts. We have soaps, bath bombs, and body butter as well, which are perfect gifts for the holidays for either yourself or other people. And on October 1st of this year, we actually launched our private tarot card reading. So if you have ever wanted to get a reading from me, if I just really resonate with you as a reader, that is where you can go in order to book that. All right, now without further ado, I'll see you guys in your readings. Hello, group number 1, and welcome to your reading all about what it is that the universe is trying to tell you. So for today's video, you have chosen the honey calcite, and with this beautiful crystal here, just wanted to show it off once more. This can be extremely, extremely healing, especially when it comes to people who have dealt with and suffered intense trauma or abuse. It can really reestablish your confidence and help make you feel safe once more, because if you have been someone who has gone through something like that, you can understand how out of balance you truly feel. And it has just this really healing and very warm, nurturing energy. So if that is something that you are in need of, it is here to support you. So we're going to lay out all of your cards, and these are the first times I've seen them. So let's go ahead and just sort of clear our minds, see what messages we can get as we're going. Okay. Okay, group 1. So the first thing we're seeing is very confusing energy. It feels like you have this lack of clarity in your life. It feels like you have almost like no sense of purpose to yourself right now. I'm getting this feeling like things feel very chaotic, as if you don't know how to get your feet back under you, because it almost feels like you've been a loose cannon for a little while, is kind of the feeling that I'm getting. I'm pulling from this Queen of Cups. This could be representing you or someone near you, but she gives off this very intense codependency feeling where it feels like she has to completely rely on another person in order to feel like she can exist. So there's a difference between codependency and interdependency. Codependency people are ones who, when you rely on another person in, again, this could be, it doesn't have to be a romantic thing. For a lot of you, I am getting romantic vibes, but this can be, of course, platonic, or it can also be a familial bond. But when it comes to codependency, sometimes people will use it in the wrong way because they'll think like, oh, I'm so codependent with my partner, haha. But it actually is quite a negative thing, because it means that you basically are enabling one another, and you actually cannot do anything without that person. Whereas when it comes to interdependence, that is when you two are actually in a partnership where you're aligned, where you are lifting each other up, where you are perhaps calling the other person out when they are doing something that is harmful to them or harmful to the relationship, and in turn that person works and grows. So with this, it's giving this feeling of like someone wants too much of you, or you feel like you want too much of them, and I'm doing this with my hands because it feels like smothering. It feels like clinging on very, very tightly to another person. And that in turn leads to having issues with emotions. It leads to feelings of jealousy or moodiness. We are seeing in the Page of Wands this want to be set free almost. I'm getting this feeling like it feels so smothering that it feels like there's this need to go back to this free spirit, this need to really explore what is outside of yourself, because again, you do feel very interlocked with another person, and it is stifling your growth. The universe wants to let you know that you can let go of the things that are holding you back. It's just that you have to take those first steps. I'm gonna point this out, is that this either feels, I did mention how it could have been platonic or a family situation. This feels like someone who is either currently in a very negative, potentially abusive relationship, and they might not see that it's abusive, or this is someone who has not let go of an ex. And the reason why I'm seeing this is we are seeing that lack of clarity, that chaos. It feels like you're not sure where to go, where to step next, like you're having to walk on eggshells. We're seeing that codependency where you almost need this person to kind of, it feels like you need this person in order to take the next step in your life, and you feel like you can't make that, you can't have that new sense of discovery, or you can't have enthusiasm for what you actually want out of your life. And the reason why I'm seeing this is we have this bright beacon in the middle of all of these reversed cards here, and why I was being so pulled, especially toward a potential ex, is while this could be any gender, we are seeing the Emperor in the reverse position here. So I'm getting this feeling like this is someone who has some masculine energy that you feel very tied to. And in this card, we are seeing someone who uses their power for basically for bad. Essentially, it's someone who they have lots of control. They want to have control over you. They want to have control over their life, over situations that are going on. They don't want you to have a free spirit. They don't want you to do your own exploring, because what if you leave them? Or what if you find happiness elsewhere? So for some of you, they're really trying to pull you away from actually doing this exploring. Again, it could be an ex where, despite the fact that you guys are no longer in union, the decisions that you make still weigh heavily on you, going, oh, but they wouldn't like that. Oh, but that's not how I could. It almost feels like I couldn't dress like that. Like if I wanted to go out for the night, I can't wear what I'm wearing right now because they wouldn't like that. And you're still feeling pulled to have that sort of mindset. Again, in the Emperor reversed, we do see someone who has this intense want to control. They're very inflexible. It's kind of like their way or bust situation. And they're very dominating. And that's not to say that they aren't charming. They could have very good points about them. They could be very, very smart, very, very loving, but you don't quite see the things that they do or have done that have made it so you guys are extremely codependent to one another. So this could be, again, it could be family, it could be friends, but for the majority of you, I am seeing this as either a current relationship or I'm seeing this as a past relationship that you have not yet been able to let go of. Lastly, we are seeing in the Ten of Pentacles here, this card is a sense of loss and loneliness. And so I believe that the universe is trying to let you know that there is this need to lose this connection, to release this connection because it is truly holding you back. I'm just feeling very like stifled. Like even before I did this reading, when I was pulling the cards out, I was having such a hard time like pulling your group. I just was shuffling for so long and I was like, they're just some cards, like throw them on the table, but it just wasn't coming to me and I had to very pointedly pick the cards from the deck. So let me just, for example, when I was like shuffling, I wasn't getting any that were calling to me very intensely. I had to pointedly be like, okay, I want this one. I want this one. So the feeling that I'm getting is almost like the universe wants you to pick very methodically your next steps. So if that is you needing to hear very, very harshly, hey, this relationship is no longer good for you, or this mindset about this ex or whatever is no longer serving you, then you need to kind of sit with that, realize it's a loss, realize you can grieve that, but then you need to take your next steps forward to process this and to be able to move on. So I am going to pull more messages for you, group one. So universe, can we get some further messages for group one? Let's see. What can we get? We have the Queen of Swords. She is coming out to let you know that you need to put up some boundaries. She is someone who is very organized. She can think with such clarity, and she is also very, very independent. So I do not think that this is a coincidence that not only is she overtaking this Queen of Cups reversed, but this sword here and the fact that the sword and the Ace of Swords is here as well, she's going to help you cut through this confusion. She's going to help you with placing your foot down and being able to make these clear decisions for yourself. She is very highly organized as well. So again, being meticulous, like I said, being methodical in your next steps, wanting to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row before you make your next steps. Because if you kind of go at this willy-nilly, if you're like, oh, well, I'm just gonna, I guess I'll just like block them and then never talk to them again, you haven't thought it all the way through. What are you going to do to protect yourself when it comes to you guys' friendships? Like if you guys have similar friends or if you see them in real life, how are you going to navigate that? You can't just be like, oh, I'll deal with it as it comes. Try to figure out from each angle what it is that you're going to do to protect yourself. If they have like mentally harmed you, because it feels like there's this confusion, what are you doing when it comes to your mental health? Are you seeking therapy? Are you doing journaling or shadow work in order to help yourself through this? Because grief stays for so long, and as it is a loss, it is going to continue to eat at you for a little while. It doesn't just magically disappear because we decide, oh, hey, I'm done with this person. No, you were entangled with this person for however long that you need to find out what you have to do to continue to heal from that. And it is going to take longer than just flipping a switch. I'm sorry, these messages are coming very, very hard and fast. So I'm sorry if I'm like not pausing. This is not very typical. Woo. Next, I have these 7 of Swords here, and this does talk about some sort of betrayal. There's some sort of deception that is at play right now, and it could be that you are either deceiving your own heart, where you are once more refusing to look. You're like trying to like see how they're looking in the past. They're looking back over their shoulder. They're not looking where they're going because they're like, you know what? I'm just gonna pretend that all this stuff isn't happening. Again, it gives that feeling like you don't realize what you're in quite. And even if it is an ex, you don't realize how much they've affected you and how hurt you actually are from them until it hits you. And that is going to hurt way more when you realize down the line that you're still being affected by what it is that they might think or say about you. Other messages, very, very obviously as well, is that they could be deceiving you and you don't quite know it. They could be betraying you guys' relationship, either with an affair or perhaps they're breaking some other boundary that you have set in place. And you need to open your eyes to that as well, group number 1. Any other messages, please, Spirit? Queen of Pentacles in the reverse position. We're seeing some sort of imbalance here. She usually comes out when there's an imbalance between work and life. So like being able to spend time with your family and putting in too much work at work. So either you're hustling or you're staying late, extra hours, things like that. And maybe that is helping aid in the confusion. You're not quite sure where your life is going because you're just so busy with your work that by the time you get home, you don't have the chance to think things through. You're just kind of like, well, time to go to sleep and do this all over again. And then you wonder why your weekends with your person are so bad, or you wonder why you're stuck there thinking about them over the weekend is because you finally have a second to turn your brain off from work, and then you're like, why am I thinking about them and what they're thinking about me? Stuff like that. Next we have, sorry, I knocked all those over. We have the Knight of Swords in the reverse position. So we're seeing, again, there's these, this is a really scattered card. This energy is very, very scattered. It feels like you're having a hard time, again, being able to focus on particular things. He also comes out when there's, it's like you don't care about the consequences of your actions. So either you or someone around you. So if this is a potential partnership or an ex or something, it's like they don't care quite how the things that they do or say can potentially hurt you. So I'm getting so far, group number 1. Can we get some more messages for group 1, please, Spirit? Ooh, we have a few that are coming out. So all of these came out in a chunk. So we're gonna go and just pull them all. So the first one we have is fear. So The very first thing I'm seeing in this card is you conquering your fear. So obviously this is a scarecrow. The crow is standing on the top of it and cawing to its brethren because it really doesn't care. It's like, you know what, I'm not afraid of this thing. And I'm seeing this as a message from spirit that is kind of letting you know you cannot let your fear of, well, like, what are they going to think of me? Or how am I going to live without them? Things like that. You can't let that hold you back. You need to really embrace the unknown in this instance and jump forward, because you staying in one place, staying solitary, allowing whatever they think to control you is not benefiting you. And so you need to stand up to your fears. It can obviously mean fear as in you're just in general you're scared, or again you're scared of the unknown, things like that. But you need to be able to summon this courage, this Queen of Swords energy, to be able to push forward and take back this control. We have direction, which is a beautiful card. So crow is flying off with the sun and the rays behind it. So finding your clear direction. In this card, I'm also seeing these clouds, and I'm thinking about the phrasing of your head in the clouds. So get your head out of the clouds is the feeling that I'm getting from the universe. Is do not allow yourself to have clouded judgment. Make sure that you are making clear and concise decisions for yourself in this instance. Next, we have isolation. So this could be truthfully how you're feeling right now. If you've gone through something like this before, or you're currently going through this, you could feel very isolated from yourself as well as other people. So isolation from yourself, what does that look like? If you've never been through it before, it means that you don't feel right in yourself. And for some people that is going to sound very, very strange, but I have been there, where I have been I've been present and I simply have not been myself. And that can be a very isolating experience when everyone around you thinks that you are present in your life when you're actually not, because you are stuck in the past and you're not able to release that past or even think about a future for yourself. And then again, very obviously, it could be that you are isolated from other people. So we do not want this isolation to happen. We want you to break free from that. We're seeing in anticipation that you're waiting for something, or perhaps you're holding yourself back from taking that leap, is kind of the feeling that I'm getting. Is part of you might even know that this is something that you've needed to move on from, but you haven't taken that leap to go forward. We're seeing all these crows kind of camped out at this area of these tables and chairs, because they know that people are going to come here and they're going to eat and they're going to drop crumbs and they're going to be able to eat. So you are seeing what you can do, I think, but you are afraid to go forward. There could also be an anticipation of you're waiting for them to make a certain move. And I'm going to say, before they can do that, you need to strike. You need to leave, or you need to release yourself from this past pain before more pain is put upon you. Lastly, we see distance. So you need to distance yourself. I'm getting quite clearly as you need to pull away from this situation. I know that this is very, very pointed, and this is strange because normally I get more of a general reading, but these are just extremely clear messages that I'm getting from the universe, is that you are currently in something that you need to pull away from. And again, it could be friend, it could be family, it could be a romantic partner or an ex. And all of these things there are certain things in each sets of relationships that could have a need to pull away and distance yourself. I think that this is going to be the best thing for you, is to pull away from this connection that you have that you know is doing this to you. And it may still feel very isolating, because if you are very codependent on someone in particular, you could feel like, hey, I've lost basically my only friend or the only person that I connect with. And so now I just feel extremely lonely and extremely stressed out. But I do believe that in this instance, you being alone is going to be better for you than you being with this person. Let's get some more messages. I'm going to pull a few of these as well. So these are from an oracle deck. Can we get some messages for each one, please? Okay. I believe that's two. Oh God, I'm not going to cry. I want to cry though. Okay, so I'm not going to cry, but I'm going to be very close. So it seems I've pulled 4. So the very first one we have here with Trish Una is honesty with yourself. So you need to be honest with yourself. This character here has this ability here where they are finally able to stand up for themselves, and they're able to really see the truth of the matter. So this is very clearly for you, is that you need to allow you to protect yourself. How they're like embracing in this way is being able to be truthful to you and what you want and what you need, and being able to finally stand up for yourself and believe in yourself and be honest with how you are feeling in this situation. And then I'm gonna flip these over. We have in La Squadra is turning the bad things good, which can be a very healing process for some people. Some people can get very stuck on the, oh, I put myself through this for so long, like I've been so clung on to this ex for so long, but then, and they think about all the bad, horrible things and like how they like sat in it for so long. But if you are able to, you can kind of sit back and be like, oh, but I have learned all of these lessons from this connection, and try not to beat yourself up over it. I have definitely been there where I have realized, oh, hey, well, I don't like being treated in this way. So then in my next relationship, I found someone who didn't treat me in that way, and I am much better for it. Things like that. So trying to actually see the good despite all the darkness is the feeling I would get. This is the card that almost made me cry, this third card here. This one here is Leone Abacchio, and it says, forgive yourself. So this character in particular feels very much like he let someone down, like his actions caused pain to another person and held on to that mourning, that kind of survivor's guilt for quite a long time, and truly found the way to forgive themselves. So that is something that you need to do as well. You need to find out how to forgive yourself for either being in this situation for however long, or allowing it to happen in the first place, anything like that. And you need to be able to move forward with that forgiveness for yourself. Then in Bruno Bucciarati, we have Embrace the Path. So they are creating this path forward for this boat that we see down here. So this is really letting the universe take control of the situation, allowing this path to open up before you and to be able to experience what you experience through it, and not resist it, not going against the waves, and just being in that moment instead of, again, resisting. All right, group number one. Thank you guys so much for getting as far in this reading as you did. I know it was quite a long one and it was very, very heavy. There was a lot here that I really believe is going to be beneficial for you to unpack. Hopefully you are able to do what's right for you and be able to grow from this situation. If you did get this far in your reading and you would like to do so, feel free to leave a boat emoji in the comments down below to let myself and others know which group you had and to know that you did get this far in your reading. And I will see you guys in the next video. Hello, group two, and welcome to your reading all about what it is that the universe is trying to tell you. So for today's reading, we have this pyrite that is representing your group. And with this crystal here, we are obviously seeing something very, very shiny, very, very beautiful. But as we all know, pyrite is also known as fool's gold. So this can be a certain kind of nudge in the direction of really looking past illusions, really realizing certain situations that you are in are maybe bright and shiny. They have your attention right now, but how much longer is that going to last? It can also really represent just that ability to camouflage oneself into something else as well. So this can be a sign from the universe that you need to no longer camouflage yourself and you need to just present more wholly as yourself, or that this is a good time to camouflage yourself. Each situation is going to be a little different. Of course, this is a general reading, so we will kind of see what messages we can pull and if any kind of correlate to that symbolism. So I have not seen the cards that are in this group yet, so we are all going to be experiencing this together. So we have the Six of Cups in the reverse position, the Four of Cups, the Knight of Cups, Three of Pentacles, and lastly, the Queen of Pentacles for you, group two. All right, let's get into this. So what I am initially getting from this reading is we're seeing in the Six of Cups reversed this feeling of you really being stuck in the past. There is either a certain situation that you are thinking back on, or you are possibly experiencing once more, almost like a cyclical sort of thing where maybe there's been this same sort of lesson that you have needed to learn, and it is now kind of coming to that apex again in your life where it's once more rearing its ugly head kind of situation where it feels like you're going, oh, now I have to deal with this again. For some of you, it can almost be a comfort thing, though, that it's come back in this way. Maybe that's kind of my own bias, is that when I see the same sorts of patterns come into my life, I tend to look at them like, not like an old friend, but kind of like an annoying sibling where you're like, oh, you're here again? Great. So it really depends on how you feel about this situation. But generally, the reason why we are seeing this cyclical nature is because there is a hurdle that needs to be cleared. And when it is cleared, you will be able to experience something new. There will be a new energy that comes into your life. So from the universe, this feeling that I am getting from this first card here is there is this strange pull towards your past, whether it's clinging on to something or having this unrealistic view, almost like memory from your past that you are sort of clinging on to. Next, however, we are seeing in this Four of Cups that there is something that you can do to really reevaluate your situation. So this card is normally not a stagnant card, but it's one where you are feeling like sitting down and really processing what's going on, and allowing yourself to meditate, allowing yourself to really dig down and get to the root of the problem. So what I'm getting from this reading is that the universe has something that you need to look deeper into within yourself in order to clear, in order to finally put to rest. There's something in your past that is an illusion of some sort, or caused you to have to change yourself for other people, and it is making itself known to you, and you are finally you're getting like these hints, and you're noticing it more and more. We're seeing in this Knight of Cups this ability to tap into your imagination, this ability to kind of pull out this beauty despite any sort of wrongdoing or any sort of pain you felt before. For some of you, this is a very inner situation. This is you're relying on yourself. For others of you, the Knight of Cups can very easily indicate someone that is coming into your life that is going to cause this change to happen. This is normally the like knight in shining armor kind of card. This is someone swooping in and causing this swift change in you. And it feels like someone who, it could be a water sign. We're seeing so many cups here. We're also seeing a bit in the earth realm, but specifically with the Knight of Cups, we are seeing a water sign. So it could be a sun, moon, or rising, or someone who really appeals to your emotions. So in this card here, we can see that from the skull, there's whatever this liquid it is like is dripping from their eyes, almost like tears. So it really gives me this feeling like perhaps some of you are grieving this Knight of Cups person. It almost, I don't know if this will make sense to some people, but it almost looks like when in mourning, having a photo of someone and then having these wreaths on either side. It almost looks like a wake photo. But yeah, for some of you, it could be mourning someone from your past. But for others, I'm getting this feeling like there's someone who's coming in who is helping you change. And it could be someone who passed is coming into your consciousness again. You're seeing them in dreams or certain symbolism where they're trying to hint at you to help you through this process. So keep your eyes open for those things. Next, we're seeing in this Three of Pentacles reverse, there's this feeling of either a disregard for your skills, or there's some lack of teamwork that is going on. And I'm mostly getting that this is from your end. It doesn't feel like you're misaligned with people around you, in the sense of it almost feels like they don't know about what's going on, so they can't give you the wrong advice because you're not letting them in. And so you're almost having to do this on your own, is kind of the feeling that I'm getting. You're not allowing yourself to open up to other people, and because you're not working with other people, that's where we're seeing that inability to have that teamwork, is because it feels like you're kind of fighting against yourself during this. Like almost your whole reading, I've had a hard time being able to get my words out, and like it's like my mind and voice aren't married to one another right now, which is wildly different from group one. Group one, I was like, boo, 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 boo. Like I just went off for like 25 minutes, whereas it feels a bit harder to kind of get this message out for you. So that to me reads as a lack of self-confidence on my part. That reads as not feeling like I can rely on my words and my voice. So that's what I'm pulling from this through. The universe is trying to tell you that you need to focus on your voice. You need to let your voice be known. You need to open up to other people. There's a lot dealing with emotions here, and there's a lot with dealing with uncovering some sort of truth. So I do feel like those are some of the biggest things that you are needing to focus on during this time. Lastly, with this Queen of Pentacles, we are seeing here, she is someone who is very, very practical. She is very much in control of her home. She's very secure, very down to earth. This is almost reading as like your higher self. It's giving me this feeling like the universe is trying to let me know, to let you know that the Queen of Pentacles is who you need to embody in order to heal from this journey here. For some of you, it could be a mother figure who possibly passed, who you are still having a hard time dealing with this this loss. With this Knight of Cups, this could be somebody who was very, very, maybe it almost gives like hopeless romantic like vibes, or someone who could see the beauty in everything, somebody who is very charming, perhaps they were very well spoken. And perhaps, yes, again, that connection with the mother is that right now it feels like that is something that they're either trying to come through to reassure you, or they're trying to help you with registering whatever this past situation is and be able to process these emotions. But otherwise, this Queen of Pentacles here could be exactly what you need to focus on in order to allow yourself again to process what you have gone through. So let's go ahead and get some more cards out on the table, please. Spirit, for group 2. Let's pull some more cards. Thank you guys so much for getting this far in your reading. Let's get some more messages for you guys. Hope you guys have had a great week. Ooh, the Queen of Wands. I love her. So the Queen of Wands, she's very inspirational. She is very, very warm, positive. She has this sense of determination and this ability to really project herself. She is someone who is ruled by fire, and with that comes that same sense of passion and forwardness that you get from fire itself. You may be either a earth or a fire sign is the feeling that I am getting from this group 2. If not your sun, it could be your moon or rising. There's a decision that you are stuck on right now is what it feels like. There's something that you have a choice between, and you have to allow yourself to make that clear decision for yourself, but you feel almost like you don't have all of the answers, because as we're seeing in the Two of Swords, the figure is wearing a blindfold, so they can't see those two choices with the swords pointed off in either direction. So it does give this feeling of indecision. You're kind of stuck and you're not quite sure where to go. It can also deal with blocked emotions. So again, not being able to process the emotions that we are seeing from your first set of cards. What can group 2 do, please, Spirit, to unblock this Two of Swords. I know partly tapping into that Queen of Wands, but what else can they do? Ace of Cups is, this is an overflow of emotions. This is flat out telling us that we need to have compassion for ourselves and we need to allow ourselves to feel these feelings. The Ace of Cups is about love. It is about allowing ourselves to feel and realize that love, and not to be afraid to dive directly into it. So we can see how this dove is diving into the cup and it's already spilling over. When it dives in, it's going to create an even bigger splash. So it almost feels like you have been holding back on processing these emotions because you're too afraid of what that could possibly mean. See, again, it's not that you feel like you're alone, like you don't have friends or anything like that. It just feels like you're not letting them in and you're not letting them see these inner workings of yourself. And if you don't feel safe to open up to people, that is completely okay, but you need to feel safe enough to open up to yourself. And so even if it is hard, even if you have to take time out for yourself, if you feel this pull towards your past, this constant thought process of beating yourself up over decisions or memories, things that you haven't, like, weren't able to say, things that you did say and you regret, stuff like that, if you keep beating yourself up over that and going back to those past situations, you're not going to be able to focus on your future. You're not going to be able to make the correct choices for yourself, and it's going to just prolong the inevitable. We do have this Ace of Cups. Can we get some more advice, please, for group 2? What can they do, please, Spirit? The Star, having hope, having this, you'll have like this sense of inspiration that either comes to you or you need to learn to tap into it. I'm feeling like it's something that is going to come to you though. Again, hope is one of the biggest things with the Star. It is about being able to believe that there is something beyond what you have felt up until this point and this feeling of change. For some of you, this can be calling out to some sense of spirituality. So if you are a spiritual person or you believe in a certain faith, tapping into that for inspiration or tapping into it for grounding. We're once more seeing a lot of water symbolism here. So again, emotions are something that need to really be tapped into, I believe, with this card popping up. With the Star as well, it brings about a sense of serenity. So trying to allow yourself to go down this path and hopefully get to the point where you do feel serene. And no matter what it is that you went through in the past, if you've lost someone or if you are still beating yourself up over something, there is solace that you can reach. It's just that there tends to be a lot of work that you have to go through along the way. We're also seeing in the Star, there's again the sense of renewal, replenishment, perhaps breaking that cyclical cycle and diverting onto a new path and changing as well. We'll pull some oracle cards for you, group 2. What other messages can we give for group 2? The first one we have is upheaval. So I'm really seeing this as an upheaval of your routine, your day-to-day. There needs to be some sort of change in your situation that is going to allow you to see from this new mindset, this new point of view. This card is really giving me tower vibes. So the tower card really is upheaval. It's a sudden change. It's a realization of something that is generally an external force that is going to kind of turn your world upside down. So it can be very scary, but I feel like it's one of those situations where the tower always comes when the foundation is very shaky. You're not on solid ground. So it's needing to tap into the root of the problem and figure out what is going on, so then you can put your roots elsewhere and have a more solid base and situation. So there's some sort of tower moment that's either going to happen or has happened in your past, and you're kind of getting to this point where you're realizing, hey, I have to really look into this. I know that I have to look into this, because you don't want to be ruled by this chaos anymore. It gives me this feeling like you've been in this for some time and you're having just such a hard time letting go of what has happened. And again, you're still beating yourself up for it. You're still feeling that pain. And yes, you may hold on to and still have grief, but there are also those good memories as well that you need to start trying to divert your attention almost to those good memories. In the Six of Cups, in the upright position, it deals with nostalgia in the sense of like looking back on it in a sense of innocence, thinking back on childhood memories and really coming into union with those memories. So with it being reversed here, it almost feels like being able to look at your past with a sense of wonder, with a sense of happiness, instead of all this grief that you feel wrapped up in, is what is going to start to help heal you. We're also seeing Wrath come out. So this is, again, a very chaotic card. This is it just feels like a lot of pain. It feels like, again, a lot of chaos. It feels like you are in the center of this swirling vortex where you're not sure where to go. Again, it gives me this feeling like you don't know where to go. Can we get some clarity on this Wrath? What can we do to help navigate this card? We have Perspective. This card here always gives me the Hanged Man vibe. So having this new perspective, letting go, allowing yourself to feel and to no longer restrict yourself from your past mindsets. So how this crow is upside down, they're seeing the world from a different view. Again, trying to instead focus on the grief of whatever situation, instead focus on the positives, can help navigate this. Anything else for group 2? Battle. This is a fight within yourself. These cards here are very heavy, and it's taking me a second. I'm pausing to think on these because it does feel like you are struggling. Again, this Three of Pentacles reversed here, where it has that lack of teamwork. It feels like you are out of harmony within yourself. So this is like, it almost feels like you're beating yourself up over something because you almost feel like you're not allowed to be happy, and you're not allowed to move on from whatever the situation is. And anytime you try to have a good day, or any day that you're thinking back and you do get hit with this wave of nostalgia, you suddenly your mood tanks. You're like, oh, well, I was like laughing, and like, how can I laugh when I know that this happened, is kind of the feeling that I'm getting. And so there's this inner battle that you have with yourself that you're having such a hard time in releasing, in letting yourself be forgiven from that situation. For some of you, this can very much be, if this isn't a passing of someone, this is like a fight that you had with somebody. I went down the grief and loss route, as I have been someone who has lost someone, so it touches base with me far more intensely than fighting with someone. But there are some very clear signs too that this could be that you are out of alignment with someone. But for most of you who are seeing this, I'm not getting that this is like a current fight. It almost feels like a battle within yourself. Any last messages, please, Spirit, for group 2? We have isolation as well. So this is kind of the feeling that I'm getting from you guys in general, is just that you feel very isolated. How I talked earlier about how, yeah, it doesn't feel like that it's not because you don't have friends or anything, but it feels like you're pulled away from them. Like you don't want to burden them, and that you don't want to hurt them with your hurt. Does that make sense? And so it's making it hard for you to move on from things, because you don't have, almost, it feels like you don't have a system in place. If you're somebody who has never tried therapy or had never been interested in it, I feel like this would be the time where it might be good for you to kind of look into that. Or if you have someone that you rely on, like family members or very close friends that you can at least talk to about certain things, now might be a good time for you to try to open up, try to have those conversations. I know it can be very, very hard, but this is almost, I'm seeing it as nearly a warning of sorts, where we want you to be focused on this hope and on this renewal, this star energy, but it does feel like you are just having subconsciously this very intense battle with yourself, this intense grief that is really clinging on to you lately. I'm going to pull some oracle cards, and then afterwards I'm going to pull a couple more of our Rider-Waite tarot deck for you guys. It might make your reading go a little long, but I just feel like there are a couple more messages that you guys need to hear and that I want to get out. So let's pull a few of these cards. The first one we are seeing in Tiziano is speaking in the right tongues. So in this one here, the very first thing I got was speaking kindly to yourself. Obviously, this card deals with knowing the right things to say, being able to, I think, when you're expressing yourself in your rawest, most pure form. And that's going to sound weird to some people. What I mean is, we tend to have the pretense of holding back from what we feel when we're expressing ourselves, because we're afraid that people are not going to understand us, or they're not going to take us seriously. And because of that, we hold back on the things that we want to say. But some things that I have learned over the years is that when I have talked about my own grief, I have allowed myself to share it in as intensely as possible when it comes to my words, because sometimes that can help me process my words, because I am a writer. So I am somebody who, to process my grief and my troubles and woes, I use writing as the vehicle for that. So what I do is I sit down and either journal, or I will do some sort of creative writing, and I will put my everything into it. And that can sometimes open up doors toward healing. So if you've never done that before. You've never spoken candidly about what has happened that is causing you this grief. This is kind of calling towards me, saying that this is the way that you need to go. You need to make sure that you are, one, speaking kindly to yourself, and no longer shunning yourself, no longer trying to hurt yourself with your words, but also allowing yourself to speak your absolute truth when it comes to how it is that you are feeling. And what's interesting is I have had this deck for some time, and I actually have never pulled that card. So it's interesting to me that when I was talking about how it's hard for you to speak up, it's hard for you to express your emotions, how I was having a hard time talking, like I couldn't get the words out. I really think it's a very pointed message for you guys that you have to get those words out. Next, in Risotto Nero, this one says visualization of one's greatest self. So take time to really see what you want for your future and see who you can become from what you have experienced. Because our experiences are what shape us. If you did not have these past experiences, you would not be the person that you are today, and you will not be the person that you are going to be and that you're meant to be in the future. So you have to learn, and this is an ever-changing thing because we experience new things every day. So you need to make sure that you are able to visualize your greatest self and tap into that, because if you're constantly looking back on your past and your what could I have done, how could I have changed this kind of thing, you are not being true to your future and to your highest vibration as well. We also have is it Scalipi? I don't know how to actually pronounce this card. My apologies. This one says carve your own path. So it's kind of like you're the creator of this, this new path for yourself. You're going to be the one who is creating this future for yourself. This has always felt like a reading that is very self-contained, whether it's because you don't open up to other people or because you just are very independent, where it feels almost like maybe you're not in a relationship, maybe you're far away from friends and family kind of thing. It almost feels like you have to be the person who's driving this forward. And also, if you have gotten this far in your reading and you feel safe to do so, please leave a star emoji in the comment box below, because we're seeing these stars repeated for you. So stars could be very important to you. Maybe if this is someone passing, is like maybe you look up to the stars and kind of speak with them, things like that, just to put that out there. But yes, I'm just getting this feeling that the universe is trying to let you know that you almost have to rely on yourself. Yes, you can have support from other people. Yes, you can speak your truth to other people, but with this card, and then especially this Queen of Wands here, she's very much a like, I'm gonna get this done and do this myself kind of thing, very independent. This feels almost like you are going it alone, and because of this, you have to, one, allow that strong support system, but also you have to defeat your inner hatred and your inner demons that you hold against yourself. I would love a couple more advice cards, please, for group 2. I know this is going over on time. Please, Spirit, can you please give us just a few more advice cards? We're seeing the moon reversed coming out, which is a beautiful card to see, and justice. Two very strong energies here with these two major arcanas. The moon coming out with it being reversed, this is releasing your fear. This is no longer allowing the unknown to control you. This is once more like the pyrite is seeing past those illusions, thinking it's one thing, but then releasing and seeing what it truly is. The moon always deals with your subconscious, and it can deal with fear and anxiety. So I'm seeing it reversed as you needing to break past that. And in order to do that, you definitely have to do a lot of inner healing, a lot of inner work. The moon is ruled by Cancer, and Cancer is, again, a very emotional sign. So once more, we're seeing lots having to do with water, so really dealing with your emotions, tapping into that. Then we have Justice, which is ruled by Libra. And in Justice, this is obviously very much about balance. It's about the fairness in life. So if you are somebody who has always been like, well, the situation that happened in the past wasn't fair or something like that. I'm not saying that it was, because it probably wasn't, but it's knowing that in life there's this need to have cause and effect, and there's this good with the bad, there's not just black and white, things like that. It's all the niche, like things in the middle, all those nuances in the middle, that is where life lies, and that's where we lie. We don't live on one end or the other when it comes to things. So the only thing you can see for yourself is the truth of the matter. And so you need to allow yourself this time to heal, come to the truth of what you are feeling so deeply before you're able to move forward. So thank you guys so much for getting this far in your reading. Again, if you liked it or it resonated with you, remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more tarot pick a card readings in the future, and to join the Crow Coven. And I'm gonna just say it, I'm sorry that this reading was as intense as it was. It very much is calling you to do a lot of harsh, intense inner work, and I know how hard that can be. So know that you're not alone, and that you can be triumphant in this situation. You just have to allow yourself grace during this time. Anyway, thank you guys so much, group number 2, and I will see you in the next video. Hello, group 3, and welcome to your reading all about what it is that the universe is trying to tell you. So in today's reading, you've chosen this pink agate, and in this gemstone, we are seeing this really gentle love, this really just like beautiful affection, this very soft, not overstated kind of gemstone here. And it's kind of the feeling that I am getting from the universe as well, being very calm, being very protected is kind of the feeling that I'm seeing, or feeling, I suppose, the feeling that I'm feeling. And also wanted to let you know with that gemstone in particular that it can really help when trying to see things from both angles, especially when it comes to if there's any sort of conflict that's going on and there's any sort of anger or bitterness, that can really help in settling those terms and making it easier for both parties to come together and speak. So for today, here are the cards that I've pulled specifically for your group. These are going to be the first times that I see them as well, so we will see what we have together. The first one we've got is the 8 of Wands reversed. Then we have the Page of Pentacles reversed, the Sun, the Moon, wow, and Death reversed. Okay, this is a very, very easy reading to interpret. All right, So you have a lot of energy here, obviously. Group 3, we are seeing 3 of the major arcana in the very first part of your reading, and very, very specifically, the sun, then the moon. And I kind of want to talk about them first before I even go to these ones here. So as there is the sun rising, bringing about warmth, passion, hope, this creativity, self-confidence, fun. And then there is the moon that brings about fear of the unknown, anxieties, insecurities, the subconscious. The fact that these two are right next to each other is really telling the story about these opposites. And it's very funny that we talked about the potential of this talking about bringing opposites together, harmonizing those opposites. This could be very indicative of two halves within yourself. This could be the heart and the mind. This could be your wants and your fears. Or this could be, more pointedly, a relationship. And the fears that you have surrounding it. Other cards are not quite indicating that this is a love reading per se. The most I would say is seeing this crystal here, this gemstone with its very soft pink color, how I said it feels very loving and the like. That is the only real pull that I'm having for that. For the most part, I'm getting that this is an internal thing. However, this may be a need for you to love yourself. To go back over here to the Eight of Wands reversed, we are seeing that there is some sort of delay. There's this either a need to pause, or you are being forced to pause for some reason. I think what it is, you're not gonna like it. I'm gonna be very brutally honest, because tarot will sometimes come out and like punch you and be like, listen to me. And this is kind of the feeling that I'm getting from this reading, is you are holding yourself back from your healing. Don't shoot the messenger. I am so sorry if you have not wanted to hear this from someone, but really and truthfully, this feels like you are refusing to look at yourself. And I think it's just simply because, like, falling back on this moon here, is that you are so afraid of change, and you're afraid of what it could mean if you had to sit down and really look at yourself. To go back to this Eight of Wands reversed, we're seeing this feeling of holding off from something, this feeling of not being able to move forward. Right next to it, we have the Page of Pentacles reversed, which is also indicating this lack of progress. There was no plan put into place, and because of this, there's no movement. And there's also this almost like this reliance on the short term, almost like a, what is it? Like, I don't think it's self-gratification, instant gratification. When you are just living day to day, where you go, well, I'm going to do this today because this is what's going to make me happy. Or I'm going to do this for this person because then they'll be happy and that'll make me happy. It's like just really quick. And when you work down that route, it can make it really hard for you to plan for your future and be able to process what your future can look like. And because of that, it is really pulling you down. It's making you feel stressed. It's making you feel not confident in yourself. And yes, you get these short-term little like hits of like serotonin where you're like, yeah, I got to do this today and it was really fun. You aren't looking inward, and that is you needing to deal with the root of your trauma or your troubles, issues, anything like that. so you can really up level yourself. This is like, not to absolutely dig into you, because I already feel like I'm digging into you really harshly. So know that this is coming from a place of love. I am not trying to be like, wow, you're not on my level. I have been here. This was me when I was younger. I've absolutely done this. This almost feels like when you get out of high school and you don't want anything to change because you're scared, because you leave school and now you're an adult and you're like, what do I do? Like, I don't know what to do. You may be a little excited and like be like, wow, it's gonna be really fun being able to do this, but then you just keep falling back on your old habits because it's what you know. And instead of growing and changing into an adult, you stay stuck in that young adult mindset until suddenly you're 30 and you're like, what's happened? So I have been here. And this is, again, it's coming from a place of love where this simply feels like a refusal to grow up and mature into your next chapter. And the reason why I'm putting so much emphasis on this before reaching our final card here is because the Death in the Reverse position talks very strongly about the fact that there is this stuck energy. There is a resistance to this change. You do not want to go through this new transition. You don't want to turn the page, go into that new chapter kind of thing. We're also seeing this inability to move on. So there's something that is keeping you stuck in this younger mindset because you are just too afraid of what's beyond that point. Again, this is something that we sometimes struggle with and have to come to terms with, but you don't need to completely release the person that you are. You don't have to let go of everything and suddenly be like, oh, now I'm a super mature adult, so I can no longer do X, Y, Z. No, you can bring that into the next part of your life. You're allowed to do that. There's just other parts that you have to put some more focus into, and you need to up level before you get there. I keep getting drawn to the sun and moon and the fact that these are such polar opposites. So I wanted to talk about it a little bit more too. Part of this feels like it feels like you can see the good in yourself and the bad in yourself. And instead of marrying those two parts together and being a whole person, you're instead hyping this up. You're like, look at me, I'm happy all the time. I'm always fun to be around. I'm always the person cracking jokes. I'm always the one on the go. And then instead you're hiding all of your fears and anxiety and the illusions that are in your life, and you're not allowing people to see these things. And because of that, instead of you working together, you accepting your strengths and your weaknesses, your pros and cons, instead of you accepting your demons and progressing, you're hitting this wall because you're not working together. Every single person on this planet has good things about them and bad things about them. There are flaws in everyone. And until you can come to accept those flaws and realize that you are never going to be completely absent of them, you are not going to be able to fully accept yourself, is the intense feeling that I am getting from the universe. The universe wants you to know that you can be a whole person and you can express all of you and still be accepted, if that makes sense. I'm going to go ahead. Sorry, I'm like coughing because I have been on a roll with yours and I feel like I'm trying to like get everything out super quickly. So far, I hope that this has been resonating with you guys. I hope you guys are feeling okay. Let's get some better messages for group 3, please. My apologies for all the coughing. First we are seeing is, ooh, yes, thank God. This Ace of Swords brings about this breakthrough. It's kind of like a eureka moment. It's this like, oh, finally I understand. Being victorious, being able to break through. Again, I mentioned that before, being able to have this breakthrough moment and realize that you are the person that's wielding the sword. You are the one who has the power to go forth and create this into a upright death card where you can change and you can go through this transition and no longer feel held back. So yes, we have Ace of Swords. What else can we get for group 3, please, Spirit? I would love to see what advice we could get. What advice do we have? The Four of Wands in the reverse position talks about this sort of inner celebration. It's not a shouting from the rooftops. You're not going to go and tell absolutely everybody about like, oh, I'm suddenly healed. Like it's not that. It's kind of you finally sitting down and allowing yourself to go through this transitional period in your life. For some of you, this can be a breakdown in communication where you're just having a really hard time being able to talk to yourself or talk to other people about things. But I kind of already get from you that you have a hard time expressing yourself. And so for most of you, I'm almost seeing this as more of a you being able to celebrate your inner work and being able to focus on transitioning from where you're at now to where you can be. Can we get some more advice though? I would really like to see like what can group 3 do to help them finally break through these blockages? How can they reach that Ace of Swords moment, please, Spirit? Nine of Cups in the reversed position. And Four of Pentacles in the reverse position. Interesting. The fact that these are still reversals is really interesting to me because these both actually talk about kind of the same thing. So I am taking this as they really want the universe wants to say something specifically about these two cards because they are extremely similar in the fact that these cards generally deal with a sense of dissatisfaction, specifically dealing with greed in particular. In this card here, he's holding the Pentacles extremely close to himself, and that is, it's supposed to be scarcity, it's supposed to be having control over the finances, which for some of you, that might be what you need to do. And this one, he is hoarding all of these cups here. He looks pretty smug in this card, and it's because he's got a lot to, he has a lot to like feel good about and feel satisfied about because he has accumulated that wealth for himself. But when these are in reverse, they very much talk about greed. So there could be something going on with your finances which sounds out of left field when it comes to this sort of thing, but it almost feels like you are putting your money in the wrong place. It almost feels like you're using your money to feed into your constant serotonin loop. I don't want you to think that I'm trying to rip on you for your finances, but it just feels like, because this card is about self-protection, it feels like, oh, if I just keep feeding myself my little escapism, then I'm going to be okay. But I feel like that your finances are going into the wrong things. I feel like they need to be going into things that are gonna better help you, such as something like therapy, or If you need certain medications, is making sure you have the money for those medications, because it really feels like, again, it's just being spent in the wrong place. For people who are not spending their money incorrectly, I don't even think that would be the right word for it. It's not necessarily incorrectly, it's just poor financial decisions. If you're like, I do not spend a dime on myself, it could be that you are greedy in a different sense. It's maybe it's the greediness of you needing to protect yourself, not showing yourself to other people, and so you're staying very closed in because you think that that is what is going to help protect you. Again, that self-protection. Because of that, you are dissatisfied. So we need to be a little bit more open. The universe would say that there's a need to be content within yourself and with what you have in order to feel open and safe. Can we get some more advice? I would like to pull 2 more cards. Please, Spirit, for advice for group 3. Those cards were very strange, but they must have been messages for somebody. The Knight of Wands in the reverse position, which this can be once more a card that's talking about these frustrations, delays. It kind of gives that 8 of Wands reversed feeling where it's like really, really hasty, but like you aren't sure where you're going. So the universe is letting you know you need to, yes, you can have that energy and that passion, but you need to slow down. You need to follow a routine, get on track with something that is sustainable so you don't burn yourself. Sorry, group 3, my camera died. You need to find some sort of new routine and something that is sustainable for yourself as well, because it's giving this feeling of always wanting to go, constantly on the move, and because you can't slow down to focus on what you need in your innermost self, that is what is holding you back and making it so much harder for you to go through a transitional period. Can we get one last card of advice for group 3, please, Spirit? The Queen of Pentacles in the reverse position. And I do want to point out real fast, again, not to call you out, but tarot seems to want to kick your butt really hard in this reading. With the Queen of Pentacles in reversed as well, it's once more giving this pull of like there's something going on that you are like refusing to look at. And in the Queen of Pentacles, I'm taking from this that you need to let yourself feel more secure in yourself. You need to be more down to earth. If you're somebody who's used to just like, you have your head in the clouds and you're just kind of like, la la la, I'm just gonna go and do this and then that and then that, you need to kind of pull it back a little bit. And I say that as a Gemini. I am also very used to just sort of spontaneously doing whatever it is that I want. And so sometimes when it does come to needing to focus on something, I very much need to tap into the sort of practical, down-to-earth energy that the Queen of Pentacles provides. With it being in reversed, for some of you, this could be that there is some sort of work-life balance that is just completely out of whack. You could be working way too much, and because of that, you're not allowing yourself time to rest, and because you don't have time to rest, you don't have time to focus on your innermost self. And for others of you, there is it feels the opposite, because it feels like you're not looking at what needs to be worked on. You're instead going the other way, where you're going into like escapism. And instead of focusing on that inner work that needs to happen, that is where that imbalance is from. So it's not constantly like, oh, you're putting in a lot of hours at work. It could be that there's just a lack of balance there. So we want to make sure that we are righting ourselves and allowing ourselves that balance. All right, we're going to pull out the Oracle cards. Let's get a few more messages for you, group 3. What other messages can we get for them? The first card that we have coming out is Domination. So in this card here, there could be someone or something that just has complete control over you. And this does feel, once more, I'm still getting this feeling from the universe that this is like an inner domination. This is a need to put in place that feeling of darkness that you are afraid to let out, kind of thing. We're also seeing here too, in this card, the other messages I'm seeing is the crow has like its like clawed little talons on the other crow's neck, but then you see that its beak is actually sitting there grooming. So in this card too, it could be that it's a, yes, I need to hold you down, but it's for a good cause kind of thing. So it's you almost needing to be like, hey, I gotta do this. It's gonna suck that I have to literally wrangle myself in order to focus on my innermost self, but it's, in the end, it's going to be better for me. What else do we have? 3, we've got Soar, which is a very beautiful card, is that you are going to be able to spread your wings and soar. You're going to be able to finally feel this, once again, this positivity. We're seeing the sun here in this card as well, just as we had before. And actually, if you've gotten this far in your reading, feel free to put a sun emoji in the comment box below to let myself and others know that you did get this far in your reading, and kind of to pull that positivity out for yourself as well. This Soar card gives me the same feeling as this Ace of Swords, where it's like that breakthrough, that sudden push of positivity, that sudden movement towards transition. So I'm getting this feeling like a lot of you are kind of, it almost feels like a wake-up call kind of reading, which is like, yeah, I've been there. It can be really brutal being on the other end of it, because it's basically being told that you're not doing the things that you need to be doing. That sucks to hear. Lastly, we are seeing in this card, Scavenge. We have how this crow is looking through every little can that it can for any scraps of food that might be left behind. It's giving off this feeling of it's looking in places despite knowing that those places are empty. It's looking for the goodness that it can find. So again, translated to what it is that you're going through, it gives me this feeling of lack. It gives me this feeling of you are trying to get more out of these places that you know that you can't keep tapping into. It's especially pertinent, it being beneath these two cards, these materialism cards, these greed cards. You know that you can't keep using your escapism in order to move forward. You can't keep relying on those old habits of yours to make any sort of changes. You have to go in a different direction, as kind of the feeling that I am getting from this card here. Lastly, I'm going to pull, actually not lastly, I'm going to pull a few of these, and then I'm actually going to pull a couple more cards for you, because I feel like you have a couple more messages that I need you to hear. So let's get some oracle cards out first and foremost. So for group 3, what do we have? Ooh, for Leone Abacchio. This says forgive yourself. So in this card here, this character very much feels like he is the one that caused this other character a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, and he held that within him for quite some time, and finally learns to accept himself and accept the situation for what it was and how it changed him. And I feel like that's something you need to do as well. There's something in your past that you have to forgive yourself for. You can't beat yourself up over the fact that I was super harsh, and you're going, yeah, I know, oh God, I'm such a horrible person. You cannot do that to yourself. You need to step up for yourself and realize that you're the person that's going to create this new future for yourself. And in order to do that, you do have to forgive yourself for you, even possibly your inaction, which I come from that. I come from a point where I was not active in my own life, and because of that, I feel like I lost a lot and that I feel behind from other people, my peers, or just other people in my life, and it's because I had to go through such an intense growing and intense need to be isolated and drawn into myself for some time until I finally was able to open back up and forgive myself and move forward. So that is something that you absolutely need to do, is you have to forgive yourself for the situation that you're currently in and the steps that you took or did not take that brought you here in order to change. You're not going to change by beating yourself up. We have in the Misfits, this card says stepping into a new skin. So this is very much you accepting your good and your bad and being able to use both parts of yourself to become something new. These two characters here, as you can see, they do give off those spooky vibes. They very much work together and are very dependent on one another, to where it does feel like that marrying of these two situations here, where it feels like you being okay with who you truly are and knowing that it's okay to allow this newness of yourself to exist and to not be afraid of it anymore. And the last message we have here is in Risotto Nero. It says visualization of one's greatest self. So knowing that you are created from all of your past experiences and everything that has happened to you in your past and in your present is going to affect your future, but also knowing that you are the person that is directing that future. You are the person who can see where you want to be, and it's just about reaching for that path and heading down that path and not being afraid to go down that path, not allowing yourself to hold yourself back and blocking yourself from being this great self that you have within you. We all have high and low frequencies to ourselves, and it is up to you to decide on what frequency you wish to work at, and it is very hard to work at those things, I understand. So you can't beat yourself up over it, but you do need to take those steps for yourself. Someone isn't gonna swoop in and change things for you. Interesting. We have Justice coming out. These are just some last words of advice for you. If you had any pull towards group 2, there may be some further messages there for you as well, because I actually pulled Justice for group 2 as well towards the end. So that is interesting. Yes, Beautiful. These are some beautiful messages at the very end. So I think that you're going to see the cause and effect that has happened in your life to get to you to where you are now. You're going to realize this truth. You're going to realize basically what has happened, and you're going to take accountability for the part that you played in this. And when you're able to do that, and you're able to finally get to that point with yourself, you'll hit this Ace of Wands moment. And this Ace of Wands is kind of like the same feeling as the Ace of Swords, where it is this very sudden, intense, powerful moment. There's big burst of inspiration, this new beginning, and very especially with the wands, this is about potential. So you having this newness in potential with yourself. Ace being the one of the deck of cards, it is you almost starting over that chapter. So this is a very beautiful conclusion, as you had been afraid to start that journey, to flip the page onto a new chapter. And then when you go through all this and you're able to finally come to these terms that you need to come to, you will have this beautiful new beginning that has all this new potential for yourself, group number 3. So thank you guys so much for getting this far in your reading. I know it was a very, very long one, but I felt like I had to get all these messages out to you. Again, if you liked this reading or it resonated with you, remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more tarot pick card readings in the future, and to join the Crow Coven. And I will see you guys in our next video. Hello, group number 4, and welcome to your reading all about what it is that the universe is trying to tell you. So for today's reading, if you chose the Bloodstone, what I am getting from this stone here is that this can really help when needing to go through this feeling of purification. So if you have felt very, very stuck in your emotions, or any sort of like physical blocks, so if you are having a hard time in manifesting anything like a job or better health, things like that, this Bloodstone can really help in that department. It can very much be a stone that helps in the purification of your body, mind, and spirit. So it is definitely here to break away from negative energy. So we are going to set that down here for you so you can view it during your reading. And then before we get started, I again wanted to say that I shuffled the Marigold Tarot and I have not seen these cards. So we're going to be going into this blind together. So the first one we're seeing is the Knight of Swords. We have the Six of Swords. Both of these are in the reverse position. The King of Cups reversed. The Chariot in the reverse position. And the Devil in the reverse position. Okay, yes. You have some negative things going on, my dear group number 4. The first thing that I want to get out there just at the very, very beginning of this is, if I'm going to go off on a tangent. I can already tell. I can tell that I'm going to go off. This feels like a bad partnership. This feels like a very, like, you have ignored the red flags of someone and now you're entrenched in their lies and their cycle of abuse, and it feels very, very bad. So for those of you who this is not at all the situation that you're in, I hope you can still glean some advice from this. I will try not to be biased, but just seeing some of the cards that I am seeing, again, it doesn't have to be romantic. This could be like a family member who's doing these things to you. This could be like a boss. This could be a friend. But for some of you, if not most of you, this is a partnership. So I'm getting very masculine vibes from this, specifically because we're seeing not only a knight, but we're also seeing a king and we're seeing the devil. And so those are all very masculine cards. So it does not need to be someone who identifies as male. It could be someone who just has very masculine energy. They could be very active. They could be very self-confident. They could be somebody who's very, very charming, kind of can talk their way out of anything. So if that sounds familiar, this could still be your reading, even if it's not a relationship. But for some of you, this is very much dealing with a toxic relationship, and I'm not going to hold back because right now I'm getting this really gross feeling where it feels like it's like trying to tighten my throat, where it feels like I am having a hard time getting my words out. And so because of this, normally when I come across that in my readings, it's because it feels like the stifling energy from someone else is really stopping what I need to say. And because of that, it feels like I need to say it even more. So I'm sorry if I'm very passionate about this reading this time around. But as I was flipping the cards, I was like, okay, I don't really like this. And then it became, okay, I really don't like this. And then by the end, I was like, I hate it. So please bear with me on this reading. So we're going to try to go at it with some sense of calmness. I'm going to try to pull some positivity out of this, but for the most part, this is going to be a wake-up call for some of you guys, if not all of you, and I need you to hear what I have to say. So firstly, we're seeing in the Knight of Swords reversed that there is this scattered energy. It feels very chaotic. It feels like someone doesn't care about what it is that they're doing and how it's affecting other people around them. So if it pleases them to do one thing, they're going to do that, even if they've been told multiple times not to do that thing. Don't break my trust. I don't want you seeing this person, kind of thing. It feels like this person is going to break that or has broken that multiple times, and that is causing more of this pain and more of this confusion. There is the Six of Swords reversed that brings about this inability to move on from something. So even if this isn't a current situation, this could be about an ex that still kind of has their claws in you kind of situation. You can't move on. You can't think about anything else because you are just carrying all of this baggage from how they used to treat you or their mindset. I'm trying to think. How they would speak to you is still in your head. How they would, I keep getting this feeling of being picked at. So someone picking at you for the way you talk, the way you move, the way you dress, things like that. I feel like someone's observing me. I feel like someone's looking at me constantly. Like someone's either looking in on social media or someone is invading privacy, and because of this it's got you on edge. Like I was holding my shoulders way up kind of thing. It feels very much like there's this this underhanded situation that is going on that is making it hard for you to move on. And the reason why I do feel like this is more of a thing that's happening right now is with the King of Cups reversed. This deals with someone who is emotionally manipulative. To not be as harsh, this can still be you, because this can talk about someone who's moody, someone who's volatile, but you can be those things because of outside forces. There are other things that are happening to you that are making you act this way, and it could be something that on the inside that you know that it's not right and you don't want to be acting this way. You want to be in control of yourself, but again, it feels like you're being you can't move on from something, so you're sort of stuck, and that's why it feels so chaotic. It feels so painful. And you can even emotionally manipulate yourself. And a lot of people don't realize that they can do that, but you actually can. And this is you being able to talk yourself down from things, being able to like say that you're not good enough for XYZ, that you don't have the ability to love other people because you can't love yourself, things like that. It's still causing that same sort of damage that's hitting that same part in your brain as if someone else was doing it for you. But if you are not doing this to yourself, this could be somebody else. This could be the person in your life that I'm pulling through, where it just again, it feels really icky. It feels like somebody is purposefully doing things to hurt you. We're seeing in the Chariot reversed this inability to sort out where you want to go. It's that same feeling as before, where it's that very chaotic and intensely sporadic sort of energy, not knowing where you're going, but just kind of rushing ahead and doing that sort of thing. The Chariot reversed, it can either mean like dead stop movement, where there's nothing going on, so like you're sitting in stagnation and you're just stuck because your life can't go anywhere now because you haven't dealt with these past things. Or it can be that your life feels like it's going out of control because you just don't know where you're supposed to be like focused and driving forward in that sense. It can also be a card that talks about aggression. So it could be that someone is aggressing towards you, or it could be that you are lashing out at other people. Again, because of all the things that you are surrounded by. You are surrounded by a lot right now, and it is causing this sort of struggle. However, I love the Devil in the reverse position. When I first saw it, I was like, ew, because the through line of it made me feel like you were chained to this sort of devil person. You feel still chained to this devil. But when the devil is in the reverse position, it means that there is this breaking free moment. It's this, you're reclaiming your power sort of thing. So I'm very much reading this as this is kind of the situation that you're in, and then the universe is telling you that you need to break free. You need to detach yourself. So whoever this person is, no matter how painful it is going to be to leave them, to have some form of closure with them, even if you, if this was like an ex situation, you guys are no longer on speaking terms, you may need to deal with your inner trauma through some form of therapy, you getting it out in some way. So you have to revisit all of this, or you may have to open up the dialogue with your ex again to get closure. And this is a really strange message because for most people, they obviously do not want to talk to their ex again. And for even more people, there's the feeling that this person is not going to have changed and they're not going to own up to whatever it is that they did in order to, I mean, especially with this King of Cups reversed, but it feels like there's some intense need for closure. So either you have something that you know you need to say, or if you were to sit down with them, it would come out. And I feel like that is important. So even if you are absolutely not going to like find your ex and talk to them, which do not do that if you don't feel safe to do that, it's possible that you need to do it in a different way, such as sitting down and writing a letter. Sometimes when we sit down and we just type in our notes app and we're just like, this is how you made me feel, blah, 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 blah. It does not feel nearly as tangible as sitting down with a paper and a pen and handwriting it. And I think part of that is because I am a writer, so I know how my writing feels when it comes from my phone versus a laptop versus pen and paper. Each of those different mediums feel different to me, even though I'm doing the exact same thing. I will not write the same thing on each of those because of the way my brain works when I work with each of them. So when it comes to you sitting down and actually handwriting something, you kind of have so much longer to think because you have to take that time to do each of the individual characters. So that might be something that you need to do and need to give a try, because you might be able to learn a few things about yourself if you do go down that route. Let's get some more messages for you, group 4. I hope you guys have had an amazing week. I know I started this reading out very, very intensely, but whoo boy, it was really hitting me. Can we get some clear messages for group 4 about the situation? Any advice? I'm also extremely thankful that we do have that bloodstone for you. Again, it aids in cleansing negative energy, so I really think that is something that you need right now. You feel overworked, you feel overburdened right now, like there's too many things going on and you are taking on way too much at this moment, but it almost feels like you're being forced into that situation. It feels like there's a reason behind it. It's not just like you taking on too much work. It's like kind of like shit hit the fan and now you're picking up all the pieces. It feels almost like you're doing it to survive, and because of this you have a hard time being able to focus on your inner work, and maybe it's amplifying all of this inner work here because you're feeling so down on yourself. It's just bringing up times that were equally as bad for you, and because of that it's extremely hard to deal with. If you are currently going through it as well, if you're currently in this situation, this could be also that you're avoiding your responsibility to be able to stand up for yourself. You're really avoiding wanting to have this discussion with this person because you're afraid of how they're going to react or how it's going to shake up in the end. In the King of Swords is you going to need to you need to have this like almost like chat with yourself, because he is the like embodiment of truth and authority. He has the most clear thinking because he has just this excellent like mental clarity, and he's able to wield that power of like the power of his mind to see through any sort of illusion and really work on the core issue. And that's what I think the universe is trying to tell you as well. You need to embody this King of Swords. You need to take on this action of the mind to be able to clear up a few things, because again, yeah, we're seeing this avoidance in the Five of Swords reversed here. We're seeing that there's this past resentment that you're holding on to, and this can partially be you wanting to really avoid conflict, but for some of you it can be that you are realizing that you are open to change and to new like this want to transition from where you are at to where you can be, which is a great thing to start working towards. So how can I get there? Can we get some more advice, please? Ten of Pentacles. In the Ten of Pentacles, we see again this kind of stability that we're seeing in this King of Swords. It's this set in place sort of establishment where you are surrounded by family. If you're somebody who can, if you can live with your family, if you can go back to live with family, it may be calling to some of you to have that attachment for a short span of time. Some of you I know cannot do this. So this could be calling to a found family. It doesn't need to be by blood, but if you have people that you can go to that can help you out of this situation, they will be there for you. And I need to let you know too that I think that getting your finances in order is going to be an extremely important thing as well. For some of you, it's going to be that you need to kind of tuck some money aside in order to leave the situation. For others, it could be that your family can help you with this. We're seeing in the Ten of Swords that you are simply just so exhausted. There's this betrayal that you either have been through or you're going through. There's going to be an ending, whether you like it or not, is kind of the feeling that this card gives us. And you're going to feel so just defeated by it, so exhausted. You're going to go through this crisis if you don't get a hold of it. I'm really feeling like for a lot of you that this is kind of like if you reach a certain point, this is what's going to happen. It's going to push you down this path. If you can't stand up for yourself, it almost feels like you're heading toward ruin kind of thing. And not to scare the hell out of you, but it feels like if you continue to remain inactive in your life, that there's not going to be this happy, like warmth, family stability that we're seeing in this Ten of Pentacles here. We want that. We want this feeling of, this card has got this elderly figure who has their like children and then their children's children and then pets surrounding them, and they have all this wealth. They live in this beautiful home kind of thing. If you want this outcome for yourself, you have to take charge. You have to break through and have this mental clarity for yourself and focus on your truth instead of allowing things to just happen to you. And I know it is easier said than done. I have absolutely been in this situation before. As I was reading these cards, I was like, yeah, I've done this. I've been here. So I know that you can do it, and I know how hard it is to get out of this situation. So just keep in mind that there are people out there who can help, and that you are not alone, and that people do recover from this sort of thing. The next few cards, I'm going to pull. There's 3 here. I'm going to pull 2 more real fast, and then I'll just show them all at once. Those 3 really wanted to come out first, so I won't do those first. 2 more, please. Thank you. Okay. So we're seeing protection come out. So this is very much you protecting yourself, you protecting your future. You being able to work in tandem with either others of your community or within yourself to provide for yourself as well. First one I'm seeing, release. What a beautiful card. So in this one here, There is this grief here. Obviously, we are seeing how there's this little baby crow who has passed, and they are flying off, and they are releasing this grief and the sadness that is holding them back. And I think that this is very telling for you, group 4, is that there is some sort of sadness that you need to let go of before you are able to forgive yourself and move onward. I think that's partly why you are in the situations that you are in now, is because you're like, I'm not good enough to have this for myself, so like, why even try? But when you're able to let go of that mindset and you can release yourself from this restriction, detach yourself from this devil situation that you are in, whether it's a person or a situation in general, you are going to be able to soar and finally move on. We have communication, so reaching out to others. If you have a family member or a friend who has gone through something similar, use your voice and speak with them on this situation, because they may have more advice for you than you could even possibly realize. Communicating your needs, not only to others, but also to yourself. You need to really sit down with yourself and be like, what am I truly deserving of? Because if you are going to continue to believe that you are not allowed to have good things, you're not going to be able to draw good things toward you. Sorry, we have some intense cards. So upheaval, this is essentially the Tower card. And in the Tower card, this is about an external force that is going to suddenly change your entire world. It's going to upheave everything. There's going to be a sudden change. There's going to be like a revelation. There's a potential disaster that can befall if we are not seeing the signs. So luckily, despite the fact that this tree was completely uprooted, the crows still have their wings and they can still fly. They can still rely on themselves. So yes, this may be a sudden change. This may be a sudden upheaval of everything you have ever known, but you still have the wings to take flight and be able to escape from this situation. Lastly, we have isolation, which honestly, this has been in almost every one of the readings. I think three out of 4, if not 4 out of 4, I think 3 out of 4 of the readings actually got the isolation card. And so this is likely how you may be feeling right now. You may feel very turned into yourself and unable to express yourself to other people. It could be that perhaps you need to isolate to be able to think more clearly, but we need you to know that there is community outside of yourself that is more than willing to help you heal from the situation, to help guide you through this situation, because only you can choose when you want to heal and to be able to heal. And no amount of tarot card readings that tell you the same thing over and over again is going to suddenly change your mind. You know what I mean? Like, it's very much, healing is a very inner journey, because I definitely came from a place where I was told like exactly what was going on with my situation and what I needed to do to change it. And I was like, yeah, I know, like constantly. And until I decided to step up for myself and make those changes, I was not able to heal fully from the situation. So I absolutely know exactly where you're coming from, group 4, with this situation. I'm going to pull a few of these oracle cards and we will see what further messages we can get. I'm going to pull 4 for you guys. I'm not quite sure. I only pulled 3 for everybody else, but for some reason I'm feeling 4 for you. the first one. I'm just gonna pull all of these and then I'll go through them one by one. Sorry, I don't know what is up with my brain right now, but like I'm like buzzing, so I'm just gonna set these down. Okay, so in this first card here, we have Post Team Bucciarati. And in this card, we are seeing these 4 hopeful souls who have already gone through an extremely intense journey where they have all learned much about themselves. They have lost people along the way, and they are now progressing toward a new future that they will in turn write for themselves. And so they are writing a new story, and that is something that you need to do for yourself. You need to close this book. I used in the last group, there was this resistance to ending the chapter and starting a new one. You feel almost like there has been a completed story. You are a trilogy, and you have either just ended your first or your second book, and you need to write that next story. This first one has come to a conclusion, so what are you going to let this next book become? I don't know why that metaphor has come out. Maybe you write a lot, who knows? But this really almost feels like a completion and you reaching this new point that you just want to go through. The universe wants you to know that you have the ability to do so, and you need to do so. Yes, so this card has come up for, again, 3 out of 4 of you. In Leone Abbacchio, it says, forgive yourself. So this is a character who feels very much that he was the cause of much pain and suffering for another person, and he held on to that guilt and that pain for an extremely long amount of time, and finally was able to learn to forgive himself for the situation. And that is what you need to do. Whatever it is that you have been through, whatever actions or inactions that you took to bring you to where you are, you need to realize that you can no longer keep hurting yourself and holding on to that pain for you to be able to grow. Like, you can't change an outcome of something that has happened. And so all you can do is forgive yourself to move on and write that new story of yours. Next, we're seeing in, I do not know how to pronounce this, Inamorato. It says hold space. So holding space for yourself and being able to allow all of you to exist in this space is something that I really feel called to say in this moment. These characters here very much so are lovers. They are holding close to one another. They seem to fit like this sun and moon situation here. So if this is a situation that is dealing with a past lover or just emotions from the heart in general, holding space for that love is okay. And this is something that I think a lot of people who have gone through abuse do not realize until maybe a little bit later. But there are times where you need to hold that space for the good memories that you had with that person, because there was a reason why you two got together. There was a reason why you two worked during the times that you did. There's a reason why you had to learn these lessons. And so you do need to forgive yourself, but I also feel that it is very important for you to hold space to the memories that were positive, not to cling on to them to where it's a suffocating thing that you can't move beyond, but to know that you don't have to feel bad or gross for feeling okay when you think about certain memories. It's almost like this sense of when you forgive someone despite the wrongs that they did to you, even if they will never apologize, if you are able to forgive them as well, it can kind of soften that blow towards yourself as well. And that's kind of the feeling that I'm getting from this. I'm also getting the message of holding space for yourself in the sense of you not trying to, I don't know why I want to use this, but it feels like feeling like prickly against yourself. So like I'm getting the image of like hugging a cactus and it's like sharp kind of thing. And it's like, I want to hug it, but then it hurts kind of thing. So don't keep stabbing yourself and hurting yourself in the ways that you have before, because it's just detrimental to you. We want to make sure that you are able to have a safe space for yourself. Lastly, in sorbet and gelato, it says know who you have. So again, if you're able to have a family who can support you during this time, or even found family, if you have friends who have been through similar things and they could know exactly what it is that you have felt during this time or what you're going through, then this is calling to you to let you know that the people who are around you can absolutely help you during this time, and not to discount them when it comes to that. Even if it's not necessarily discounting, but even if it's you not wanting to burden them with how you feel about a certain situation, don't immediately think the worst. Like, oh, they're not going to want to like listen to me talk about this again for the umpteenth billion time or anything like that. If they are a true friend, they will be there for you and they will try to help. I'm going to pull one last card. I know that this has gone long, and my voice is going, but I don't know why. I just feel very much like whatever this last card is, there's a message that I need to get out for you, group 4, so bear with me. If you have reached this point in your reading, feel free to leave a sun and moon emoji in the comments below to let myself and others know that you did get this far, because I'm very much feeling like you have gone through a lot, and even expressing yourself in a little way may help. And I will see it. I will absolutely see it. And I will see you and know that you have gotten this point. In this last card here, we're seeing this 6 of Cups. And the 6 of Cups deals with things like childhood memories. It deals with tapping into your innocence, returning to kind of like a, you know, when you like go back to like an easier time kind of thing, again, like that nostalgia, you're like thinking back on when things were so much easier kind of thing. This again harkens back to family. Again, if you have family or something, it's trying to point towards allowing that to happen a bit more. For some of you, it could be to see family. It could just be to experience things with more innocence. If you're trying to write a whole new story, it might be that you have to cast off your jadedness and really tap into that innocence. But for other people, this might be a need for you to work on your inner child as well. This is very heavily an inner child work, where you may have to do some intense soul searching, and you may have to do some intense therapy that is very pointed when it comes to what happened to you when you were a kid. And see the patterns. So for people who don't know too much about this, generally things that happen in your childhood, especially if you were abused or traumatized as a young child, they can come up as cyclical patterns that will repeat themselves over and over again. And that is why people who have suffered abuse when they were children can fall into abuse more easily as a teenager and as an adult, because they fall into those patterns because it is like a spiral and there is a need to break out of that. I know this, I have been through this to kind of release a little bit and let people know a little bit about myself, is that I went through some very intense childhood trauma that has manifested in multiple ways over the years and has caused me to fall into a few very poor relationships. I am now out of those relationships and I am in a very healthy and beautiful one, but I do still deal with the lingering effects, and there's still some times where there's those cyclical traits that come back into my life that I have to face because of things that happened in my past. So it never fully goes away, but it becomes so much easier when you have a handle on it. So just know that you are not alone and that you are able to work on your inner child and that there is improvement that comes from it. Of course, it doesn't just completely go away or anything like that, but being able to take steps toward it can truly help your future and make it so much easier for you when you do allow yourself to forgive yourself and write that new story for yourself. So once again, group number 4, thank you guys so much for getting this far in your reading. I know it was a doozy. I apologize for that. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I hope that this reading helps you out. I'll see you guys in our next video.